The real reason the US became the most powerful country in the world isn't the story you've heard 100 times before. Forget the cliché arguments about natural resources or sheer size. Those are important but secondary. What do you think is the most important factor that contributed to the US rise to power? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. What if I told you that the US didn't just rise to power but engineered it? Today, we're going to dive into how the US built its empire through vision, timing, and some very deliberate choices. Choices that outmaneuvered other global players. And here's the twist. It wasn't always about being the biggest or the richest. It was about being the smartest and the most adaptable. Let's start with timing, because that's where it all begins. The United States was perfectly positioned to take advantage of key moments in history. The Industrial Revolution was a massive shift. But while Europe was embroiled in wars and rebuilding efforts, the US was quietly building its economic engine, expanding westward and growing its influence. By the time the 20th century rolled around, America wasn't just catching up, it was racing ahead. Other countries might have had similar potential, but they weren't as ready to seize it. The US capitalized on the destruction of Europe in 2 world wars, emerging stronger after each conflict. With fewer scars from war on its own soil and a booming economy, the US wasn't just winning battles, it was claiming the future. Now let's talk about economics. The US didn't just stumble into economic power, it designed it. With the creation of the Federal Reserve, America gained the ability to control its financial destiny. While other countries struggled to balance their budgets, the US leveraged its central banking system to not only stabilize its economy, but also project financial power worldwide. And here's the kicker. America's economy wasn't just about factories and commodities. It was, and still is, about innovation. From Ford's assembly line to Silicon Valley, America's greatest weapon has always been its ability to innovate and adapt. That's something no other nation has been able to replicate at the same scale. But economic power wasn't enough. America understood the importance of alliances and influence. After World War II, the US orchestrated the creation of institutions like the United Nations, NATO, and the World Bank, embedding itself at the center of global decision-making. It wasn't just about military might. It was about creating a world order where the US would always be indispensable. Look at the Marshall Plan. Instead of letting Europe collapse after the war, the US rebuilt it on its own terms. This wasn't charity, it was strategy. A stable Europe meant a market for American goods, a barrier to Soviet influence, and a network of allies that would support US dominance for decades. And of course, there's the military. But we're not just talking about tanks and planes here. We're talking about the military-industrial complex, a term that represents the intersection of defense, industry, and government. America mastered the art of projecting power across the globe, not by simply being the strongest, but by creating a system that could sustain its dominance indefinitely. From the Cold War to the present, the US military presence around the world has been less about fighting and more about influence. Military bases in key locations are strategic chess pieces that ensure the US can exert pressure anywhere, anytime. But perhaps the most underestimated source of American power? Culture. While other empires relied solely on military strength or economic influence, the US used Hollywood, music, and media to create a global cultural hegemony. American ideals of freedom, opportunity, and innovation were broadcast worldwide, creating an almost subconscious association with success and power. This cultural dominance is crucial. It's one thing to be feared or respected, but it's another to be emulated. The US became the standard the world measured itself against, not just in terms of politics or economics, but in terms of lifestyle. The United States became the world's superpower through a combination of strategy, innovation, and influence. It wasn't just about luck, geography, or sheer size. It was about timing, alliances, and a vision for global leadership. While other nations fought over territory, the US built a system that would guarantee its place at the top, not just for a moment, but for generations. Now, what's your take? Was America's rise to power more about its strategic decisions or sheer luck? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. If you want more deep dives like this, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Your support helps this channel keep growing. See you in the next video.